Welcome to Season 3 of Sunday Conversations. Thank you for your continued support. Get ready as we embark on this year's journey of great content. Sit back, enjoy, and delight yourself with these conversations.
Should have been out on the battlefield with everybody else.
But this is the crazy part. We can name up all the Bible examples, but then you have people that you're right beside, like you right here, and to be able to hear your experience and to hear your story, it's a way of understanding. Okay, I have points of references. I don't have to just look at the Bible. I can look at the people in my own church.
That's right.
And to say if they're going through these things and able to push through and overcome and trust God, then it gives me the ability to do that as well. But I think sometimes we're guarded and sharing our information because we don't want people to judge us.
Yeah, because in your instance, we was talking almost every single week.
Right.
Like I'm talking about like we having serious conversations, and we were doing Sunday conversations where we actively engage each other every 2 weeks, or we at least text each other ideas back and forth, topics back and forth, and then to know that he was going through that. Yeah,
that is to know that you was going through that, you had went through that, but then not knowing, and then you hearing us talk about church hurt, and it's like, okay, you have real church hurt.
Yeah, exactly.
That
wow, you know that's amazing that we talked about church hurt, and I see what happened to me. I don't even think about, and I know that may be strange and foreign for some people that may be watching this. I want you to understand that I don't even think about it. And it's not that I've put it away to where it's, to where I don't want it to remember it. No, I decided that this would not have power over me. I decided that this would not control my actions, that this would not control my life. Ironically, yeah, it did cause me to go out and I be buck wild. Yeah, because I was trying to give him a look, because I was trying to find sex on and every turn. If she moved, I was trying to eat it. Just being honest, but that's part of a process, because women do the same thing too. So there are some women that go through rape and they turn around and become very sexual. They become very sexually active after the rape as well, and it's just a way of saying that ain't me. That I should get this off me. But I don't even think about it, man. When I say I don't think about it, I do not think about it. Sometimes what will trigger the memory, not the ministry, what will trigger the memory is sometimes when people talk about theirs, and then that would trigger. But there are times that I can hear people talk about being raped or being molested or anything like that, and my memory never comes up. So for me, it's not something that is in my forefront. There are things that I remember more of me as a child, that happened to me as a child, versus what happened to me as an adult. Now, I can say that for a period of time, it caused me not to trust men big time. I can honestly say that it caused me not to trust men. And then as I gave it more and more thought, yes, it was the catalyst that caused me not to trust men. And that at some point was why that some of my best friends are women, and then I'll be even honest with you, at some point it even made it hard for me to even talk to other men. So, or then especially if it was a man that the type of conversation they were having was always sexual. Oh man, that junk got boring to me. So it was always looking, and I will say the one thing I was looking for, it was always looking for men that had elevated conversation, that had higher level of our conversation. Where did I always find that from? From the majority, I found it that women were having more elevated conversation than what men was I typically having. So until you're in an environment to where you can change the circle, or you can shift the environment that you're in. And being in the military, what's almost every topic? Women,
cars, guns.
Women, cars, guns.
Yeah.
Look, sports. Man, I would have got this sports. Exactly.
Yeah.
So I always sought conversations that was beyond that.
Right.
And for me, the only people that's really having those higher level conversations I was looking for, it was women, because I didn't have any men around me that was having that.
Right. And that was the same thing for me, because for a while, I don't think about the depression and the suicide ideations or the attempt. I think about like moments of seeing other guys going through something. It's like, you know what? I went through the same thing. So I feel the sense of, I want to help. I want to make sure, because I know how that felt. I don't want nobody else to go through that.
Right.
Or to know that, hey, it's okay. It's okay to feel the way you feel. Let's work through it. You know what I'm saying? Because I never gave anybody an opportunity to know that I was dealing with something. And I think it's so important for us to make that known. Because I mean, I was around people who were saying, man, if anybody commits suicide, they're weak. You know, that's selfish. And I'm like, dang, I can't tell you how I feel, because you're going to sit here and think less of me. So now I got to hold this in.
Yes.
And I found myself being around people who just didn't care for that type of conversation.
Okay, so I have a question for you. Being in the Air Force, how has this helped you help your airmen that are subordinate to you, or some airmen that may be your peers or senior to you?
It's been a conversation. I mean, Air Force wide, it's been a huge topic, and they don't really talk so much about suicide itself, but everything that can lead to
suicide.
And so one of the biggest things they talk about is resiliency. And for a long time, I couldn't stand them talking about resiliency, because Resiliency Day would be just them. You know, everybody come outside.
I know, man. I know.
Sports, let's eat, and then that's it. And then we don't have a conversation. And so it's like it don't make any sense for us to do this if we're not going to really talk about it. And so it was a check the box thing. But as of recently, with the new Chief Master Sergeant Chief Bass and General Brown, they've had real in-depth
conversations about it. Yes.
So in our unit, one of the things that I do is I have I talk to my airmen. I say, hey, it's okay to have problems. It's okay to go through stuff. That's what we're here for. We're here to help each other, and creating an atmosphere, like you were saying, that makes it easy for people to process. Because we all got stuff we got going.
Yeah.
Military is
you know, and I think one of the hardest things about that, to be honest, and I'm going to say a large majority of men, is having that person that is loyal, that when you share this information, they don't take it anywhere else. Because the one time that one person that you truly trusted go and tell somebody, it almost ruins it for us to even share it to anybody else ever again.
I can't tell, like, I got to be careful who I talk to about what I'm going through, because especially in the military, or just even not even in the military, you just got to be careful, because you're giving people a vulnerable side of you, that in hopes that they can hold you down just as much as you hold them down. And if you don't, you give it to the wrong person, they going, well, so-and-so over here doing it.
Exactly. You know, I definitely to say that ever since that I've exposed mine, man, I've had some great men to reach out through me via Instagram and literally talk to me. We either texting back and forth through Instagram, or we actually call each other through Instagram, and then which leads to having a actual, hey, here's my number, call me. I can definitely say, man, the men that I have touched since then has been remarkable.
Your experience is valuable.
Remarkable. And the biggest thing that they give me first, they said, thank you for giving voice to the trauma that I had first. Secondly, thank you for being an example of being resilient. Thirdly, you're brave. You are courageous. And I thank you. You know, I want to know, how did you get to the place to where you could forgive so quickly? And so my only guide to forgiveness is simple, is that the only way that we can receive forgiveness is that we have to give it. And understanding that forgiveness is not for the other person, it's strictly for you. That is the most selfish thing that you can do for yourself, is forgive. Forgiveness is for you. It's the most selfish. I think it's one of the most selfish acts in the Bible.
Forgiveness.
When I say that I can be selfish, scripturally, I think forgiveness is one of the most selfish acts you can have. Now that's Ikeism. That is Ikeism. And probably if we really think about it and we really research that deeper, it probably is one of the most selfish things that we can have scripturally, because it's all about you. That is something that's between you and God. Because for all the wrong that you have done, even something that's minute to the big things, when God talks about sin, sin is sin, no matter how small or no matter how large. So forgiveness is forgiveness, no matter how small or how big it is.
Right.
However, the perpetrator, we choose how long that we choose to deal with them, or we choose how long that they have power over the situation. So I would say that he probably had power for about 3 months after that. If I'm to be honest,
Right.
without thinking about it deeply, he had power for about 3 months. The moment that I withdrew my power and I returned that power back to me, is the moment that I became bold. I became bold in the aspect is that you thought that you got it.
Right.
But let me show you something better.
There was freedom.
That was freedom. Exactly.
Yeah, and that's
Exactly.
what it says with 2 Corinthians chapter 3, where there's liberty.
Mhm.
Where the Lord is, there's liberty. And in the next verse, it talks about the unveiling of the face,
Mhm.
where the reflection is no longer about me,
Mhm.
it's about God. And so your forgiveness and your freedom and not allowing that to hold over you, is you being able to be free in who God is,
Mhm.
that gets you to even greater glory
Mhm.
versus what is trying to hold you back. And I
Yes.
think that bondage sometimes is the thing that we can cleave to because it's what we can see or what it's easier to do, versus letting go, which may be harder, but there's so much more in store for us if we move forward and let that thing
Yes, true. I even had to go back because on doing the podcast, I even talked about how that I was hurt by something else, and how I was holding on to that hurt. I never knew that the pain or the emotional stress that we take when we go through something, that if we hold on to that thing too long, that it become an idol. When God shared that with me, man, or when God spoke to me about that, when he said, how long are you going to hold on to this? And I was like, God, because I want to hold on to it as long as I want to hold on to it. You have made this an idol, and I am a jealous God, and there would be no other God before me.
put more effort into.
And I
that
put more
thing.
effort into that
Holding
thing,
on to that.
holding on to
Yeah.
it, than to where God wanted to get me.
Be able to trust in Him. Like, I can let this go.
Man, listen here.
Yeah.
Listen here.
Yeah.
The ugliness of me was so ugly that I couldn't even recognize myself. So being a minister, being either going through the process of being a elder, there was still ugliness about me. And I think that what we miss is that we think that just because someone is a minister or an elder, they're a leader in the church, they're this and this, they're this and that, is that, oh, they are good. No, we have the same issues that you have as the people. We go through the same processes we give you. We have to go through those same processes. Those same processes. Sometimes we champion them, sometimes we don't. Sometimes we get defeated, sometimes we win. And that's just being straight honest. But the ugliness that whenever we have had things that happen, trauma, issues, upsets, the disappointments, all those, if we don't deal with them properly, all of those emotions carry to the next one.
And you think you have it in control, but you don't. Until that one thing happens, and then you all of a sudden snap. And then you back to where you was before.
Yes.
Like, how did I get here?
Oh,
I thought I had this all together. No, you don't. And now that conviction, because that same conviction is with me too. It's like, how do I deal with this? Really deal with this? Not just talk about it, not act like I'm okay, but how do I sit and be vulnerable with myself?
Yes, and then all that. How many of us truly have people in our lives that we can be our unadulterated self to, and that person challenges that unadulterated person.
I only got one. That's my wife.
Exactly. So, but watch this. Have you gotten to a point sometimes to where you not my mama, you not my dad?
I've got to the point where like, hold up. Like
you not the boss of me.
But at the same time, it's like, you know what? She's the only one that's seen me at my worst. She's seen me at my best. So it's a meter where I say, okay, if she's telling me something, I need to listen.
And watch this. We have to have the self-resolve to recognize that when it happened, that hold on. So I am thankful, grateful, honored to God that He placed someone in my life that held me accountable. Now, granted, I was the guy that back in the day said that for you to be a male and to be a friend of mine, you had to have the ability to check me and to check me properly. If you could not check me when am I wrong, or you cannot accept me checking you and you're wrong, then you can be my male friend. And I've only had a couple of guys in my life that I could actually call my friends and say that. But to the level that my bestie did it, I've never had nobody to the level that my bestie did it. And also that goes back to having the exposure of yourself like that, so that the person can see you,
have the opportunity to make that assessment,
to actually make that assessment, to actually see it. And I'm thankful that my bestie did not drop the ball. When I say that she didn't drop the ball, as this, being the mouthpiece of God for that time period, bro, I don't care what it was. I don't care what it was. You just did this. No, I didn't. Yes, you did. I had a whole vision about it.
Check them out.
Yeah, whatever. I'm just lying. Whatever. I don't believe that. Yeah, whatever.
Check them out.
Like literally, man, listen to this. I kid you not. We'd be like, you just did this. Man, one day I said, how you know that?
Yeah.
How do you know that?
Watching.
No, it was the discernment. God gave her discernment. God gave her the ability to see things about me and to check me about them. When I say she had total insight to me, that like stuff that she even know that I was going to do, because I ain't even said it to her. Seriously.
Yeah.
It's like, you I just finished doing this. Like, huh? So when you got someone in your life that can place a mirror in front of you and show you and show you the ugliness of you, you need to listen to that person, and you have to honor that person, because for me, it was the voice of God coming through her, checking me, because I knew that God had greater for me.
Right.
He had greater for me, or He has greater for me. And there was purpose that I need to fulfill. And if I didn't get myself right, then I could have aborted my own purpose.
Right. Just sitting with the information, not know what to do. Because a lot of times we can say, God, send me this, give me this, I'm this, and then when you get it, what you gonna do with it?
What you gonna do with it?
Like, you know what I'm saying, you ask for the ball, but when you get it, are you going to go and do, or do you even know what to do with it once you get it? And I think for me, sitting in that place and just exposing myself, being vulnerable, allowed me the greatest ability to now work through this with somebody that's with me in this process, versus me thinking that I got to do it by myself. I don't need nobody else. No, I do need somebody else. I need help. I got to speak up and say something's not right. If I don't feel good, I need to let people know I don't feel good, instead of trying to push through something that's going to make me feel worse. You know, just those simple things, you know, you got to be able to speak up. So
now look, I do have a question. I do have this question. Your mom, like, is a straight whiz kid. Your mom is a straight whiz kid.
She's on it. She's on her like 5th degree by this time.
With all the knowledge that she have, why couldn't you? Did you ever ask yourself, why didn't I go to my mom?
No. I understand why I didn't. both my parents. I understood, like I said, because there was so much that they don't know.
Okay. All right. Got you.
That
True.
It was
True.
I can't bring that to them. They don't
True.
know how to deal with that.
I used to say that to my dad. My dad and I, like, my dad has these philosophy moments, and I know when he comes at me in a certain tone, I can't say nothing. I just have to sit there and actually listen, right? So he called me and he said some things to me, and I just had to sit there and listen. The only response I had to him was, Dad, the person that you're speaking of, which was me, that wasn't your son. That was a hurt and broken son. So you got to see a side of me that you became familiar with. Now you see a different holistic side of me, which means that I'm healthy, I'm whole, and I'm free of what I allowed to keep me in captive. Right. So now you see something different, and you're not, and you became so accustomed to the studio me that when you see the real me, that you can't recognize me.
Right. And I could tell you through that exposure and them finding out afterwards, our conversations, I mean, we would talk for like 2 minutes. I'm good. I'm good. Because I won't say nothing. Now, I sit on the phone with my mom for an hour. I'm like, I'm on the phone with you, Mom. What are you doing? Or I'll be on the phone with my dad, and because he's a pastor, so we'll talk, shoot the breeze, and then next thing I know, I say something, and then we start preaching, and then it's just, but it's being able to have that freedom to feel now that I can have that conversation, because it's not because of them, but it's because I'm in the right place, in the right frame of mind, and my heart is in the right place to be able to expose them.
Okay, awesome. Well, look, matter of fact, I got one question for you before we end this one. So we do know that you are having an up and coming new assignment. So are you excited about it? Because when your wife shared to me the note they put at the bottom of your
anywhere but DC.
I was like,
anywhere but this location.
Watch this. But I said, Andrews is not DC. Technically, it's Maryland.
So the funny thing about this is the day prior to me finding out, I told Elise, we're in the car, I said, you know what? If God allow whatever God has for us, that's what it is. Because for me, I've been here for 6 years. Now I've passed on 4 assignments.
I know.
2 of them were like my dream job, but it was more so, it made sense for stability to be here. And so it allowed me to have peace of mind. And I prayed on it, and I said, okay, God, this is not it. Because if this was, the things that we need to do will be working the way it needs to. And it just wasn't.
Okay.
So
yeah, that's when you know it's time to seek God for, hey, okay, I need a greater revelation to what you're doing. Because being in the military, we can out real quick and I'll be gone.
For this assignment for years, and for me to get it was a true testament to me trusting God in that process. Like, okay, do I take this because it's what I want, or do I focus on what's important for the family? God, show me what I need to do. This one in particular, the day prior to me finding out, I said, well, God, whatever you have for me, I'm with it. I don't care where we go. I get to the office.
You don't care where we go.
That's what I get for running my mouth. I get to the office, and it says, you have an assignment. What? And I said, nah, they playing.
He's like, God, I just said this yesterday.
Nah, this is, hold up. And so I go to all the proper channels that let you know. And it said, sure enough, you got an assignment. And so I sat there, and then I was like, okay, God. I instantly, I knew right there. I said, okay, God, I know.
Okay.
This is what you know.
That's
provision.
That's also, now, was that your only assignment of a choice, or did you have options?
No, that was it. So
that's when you know, bruh.
So for Air Force, it's not the same like Army. Army, y'all get like,
not all the time.
Okay. But for us, it's always one.
Like assignment. For instance, when I left Germany to go to California, that was it.
Oh, okay.
There was no option.
Okay.
When it was time for me to leave California, and let me share with being in the military and being in the will of God, how you know that things are the will of God. God know that the military is your career or it's your job. Some people call it a job. Some people call it a career. But God know the avenues of the military and how that it works, especially when it comes to assignment. Being a man and woman of God, when you say, God, I am availing myself to wherever that you want me to go. That means that when assignments come up, sometimes you get single assignments, sometimes you get options of assignment. There's only been 2 or 3 times, 2 or 3 times out of my 21 years in the military that I had options. When I went to Panama, that was my only assignment. So I got stationed in Panama City, Panama. When I got stationed from Panama back to Bragg, that was my only assignment. Went from Bragg to Germany. Germany was my only assignment. When it's time for me to leave Germany after the first 3 years, it was Germany or Korea. And I'm like, my family, how y'all sending me from Germany to Korea? You know? So I was like, God, which one is best for me? You know, if I go to Korea, where will my family go? Would they say, you know, like, and typically when you get a dependent restricted tour, typically your family stay where they are or they go back to their home of our record while you go do that tour. And I was like, I couldn't have my family here in Germany. Just, man, my wife would go crazy. So I chose to stay in Germany. From Germany to California was my only assignment. Right. From California to my next assignment, I had 7 options. One of those options was Fort Gordon, Georgia. I heard the voice of God clear as day, Fort Gordon. And for me, God's voice, when he speaks to me, it's the same voice that I heard when I was 6, 7, 8, 9 years old. And I didn't understand what that voice was. And what I mean by that, there would be times that when I was a child, I would be outside playing and the voice of God will call my name, Isaac. Just like that. Isaac. That voice has never changed. That voice has never changed. It's the same voice. And when a voice came and said, your assignment is Fort Gordon, I knew it without the shadow of a doubt. So when God is speaking to you and when things are his will for you, and it's his perfect will, I want you to understand that his perfect will, things line up in ways that you would never, ever experience. So because I did not take that assignment, because my wife at the time and I were not in alignment, and as much as it pained me, I want you guys to know, when I say that when I knew what God said to me, and knowingly to be in the permissive will, because my wife and I were not in alignment at that time, it hurt. I say it hurt. It hurt. It hurt. But what it taught me was a valuable lesson into don't ever sway from God's perfect will. Even though it happened again. Don't worry, it did happen again.
But even with that,
and I paid the price. But watch this. But there's always a ram in the bush. Always a ram in the bush. So I am excited for you guys. I'm ecstatic. You still see him on Sunday Conversations. Don't worry. Don't worry. He'll just be virtually, but he'll still be here. So but man, and then I'm so excited with what you guys doing with Room 19.
Yeah, definitely.
And then you got the fourth quarter, and you got what's the other one? You got Room 19, the fourth quarter, and y'all got one more. What's the other one?
Bold for Greatness.
Bold for
Greatness is the network, and then Room 19 and fourth quarter podcast fall.
Listen here. If you guys haven't gone to I subscribe to Room 19 podcast and the fourth quarter, make sure you go. I do that. Man, look, the fourth quarter is about his ministry. Room 19 is about him and his wife, their journey in their journey of loving each other through their experiences and also going through his military career. So are you still seeking to go? Warren or
So I'm gonna ride this out. So I'm up for E7. So
Okay.
we'll see what happens with that. I said that's in God's hands. I did my part. I prayed and I have faith in it. So I'm gonna ride this out the enlisted route.
so you're gonna ride out the enlisted route. Wow. Okay.
Yes, sir.
Okay.
Yes, sir. So I'm gonna get
Okay.
good, but I'm still finishing school up. Get
Yeah,
all that
gotcha.
stuff, get all that stuff done, and then see what happens from there.
Okay. Well, man, look. Well, you already know that I'm in the foxhole with you. Air Force don't know what that foxhole is.
You know, a little bit. You know, a little, we got hotel rooms.
But I am in the foxhole with you, bro. Hey, and I pray nothing but the God's best for you, man. I know
Appreciate
that I know that y'all gonna be great, and I know that the wife is a little like, what I'm gonna do? Like I didn't like I got my own career now. What I'm gonna do?
gonna work itself
But at least don't worry, everything will work itself out according to God's perfect will. And guess what? Because he knew this assignment was gonna come, he already made provisions for you. So, man, hey, I want to thank you guys for watching Sunday Conversations. I am the Great Beard of Wisdom, Isaac Davis. This is my boy. Man, it feels strange not to say minister anymore.
Alex.
Hey, this is my boy, Alex. Make sure you go to Room 19 Podcast. Make sure that you follow him on Room 19 Instagram, Fourth Quarter Pop Podcast on Instagram, and make sure you go and subscribe to their podcast channel as well. Subscribe to Sunday Conversations, and you can follow me on the Great Beard of Wisdom, the Great Beard of Wisdom on IG, as well as you can still follow the church on the church Instagram page, LWC3. Follow us on our YouTube and Facebook. Hey, we will continue to bring great content to you guys. Hey, man, I just want to thank you for this awesome conversation that we often don't get to talk about mental health, man. So, and I'm looking forward coming up, man. I'll be having a conversation with your mother in her clinician field, talking about men's health. So make sure that you come back to watch the episode next week as we talk about men's health, because in 2022 a lot of our major entertainers, major artists, popular men that died in 2022, they actually died of heart disease. So we're going to talk about that. So hey, come back next week. We'll be looking forward to you as we continue to bring you great content. And until then, you guys have a blessed week. Peace. Thank you for watching Sunday Conversations. Remember to like, comment, share, and subscribe to our YouTube channel and follow us on Facebook. We look forward to seeing you next week as we continue to bring you relevant content. Remember, God has a purpose and a plan